23 minutes past 8. Here's a little scoop for you. John Cleese is returning to British TV screens with a regular show on GB News in the new year. And John Cleese is with us now. John, good to see you. How are you?
I'm tired and old. When you get to my age, you don't know if you're tired or old because they feel the same, but you don't know whether to rest or not.
Well, you're about to embark on a whole new chapter of your careers, if I understand this correctly. How did this new show on GB News come about?
I was approached and I didn't know who they were. And I don't know much about modern television because I've pretty much given up on it. And I mean, English television. And then I met one or two of the people concerned and had a dinner with them, and I liked them very much. And what they said was, people say it's a right-wing channel, it's a free speech channel. And I'm working with a young fellow who's a stand-up comic, so he must be
Andrew Doyle.
Yeah, Andrew Doyle.
Like GB News, you've expressed concern in the past about wokeism, saying that the threat to liberal democratic principles must not be underrated. How big a threat do you think wokeism, and feel free to define it, but how big a threat do you think it is to our culture?
Well, in America, worse.
Worse than the UK?
Well, the interesting thing is that the way that the woke people conduct their campaign is, I thought, not very honest. You remember that radio interview here some months ago where the lady who was in charge of Stonewall admitted that she had avoided public debate deliberately. And I think that is not the liberal democratic way of doing it, or the liberal. Yes, I'm an old-fashioned liberal. And therefore, I'm always saying, well, if we do this, there will be advantages and there will be disadvantages. And at the moment, I think a lot of the disadvantages are becoming evident to a lot of people. And on Saturday, I spoke to a very tiny conference of the SDP. And those are people, very ordinary people, who are economically a little to the left and culturally a little bit to the right.
It has to be the Social Democrat
and there's
Party,
a lot of people like that around who don't yet know about the SDP's revival.
Well, I want to come back to the British politics. I don't remember that particular interview with Stonewall, but I do want to ask you about the effects of this concern you have for free speech on comedy. Do you think that, I mean, this is very hypothetical, but do you think that if someone pitched Monty Python today, it would get commissioned?
Well, the guy who was in charge of Light Entertainment about 4 years ago said he wouldn't commission it now. And, because it's 6 white people, 5 of whom went to Oxford. But the point was they made a program that a lot of people liked. And the right wing didn't like it. I remember when we were at the O2 playing to audiences of 16,000, the most extraordinarily affectionate arena I've ever been in. The Daily Telegraph ran a piece saying, was Monty Python ever really funny? To which the only answer was, well, some people thought so.
Some people thought so.
If people enjoy something, then the BBC should be making more of it. And if people don't enjoy something, they should probably be making less of it. But their job is to produce the best possible programmes.
We'll come back to both the BBC and UK politics. Let me just ask you briefly about GB News, because you say you didn't know much about it. You did tweet some of your own concerns about GB News, and not long ago, on August the 28th, you tweeted, GB News is sometimes referred to, rather wittily, as KGB News. And you went on, to what extent is GB News influenced by Russian interests? Have you received a satisfactory answer to your concern?
I've been talking a lot with Andrew Doyle about it, and one of the original founders seems to have made some money in Russia, but it's no more than that. So I don't think that's a huge... Yeah, I'm satisfied at the moment. But the whole point is it free speech or not? And after I start the show, we will find out.
But do you think free speech should extend to, for instance, people spreading opinions about public health which may not be based on fact? So, for instance...
Well, then it's got to be challenged.
It's got to be challenged. But last week, the author Naomi Wolf asserted her view that the COVID vaccine is a bioweapon, sterilising women and emasculating men. In fact, the WHO, the World Health Organization, says the vaccine is safe and effective across all age ranges. I mean, that's not... There's free speech and then there's false information, which might have an impact on public health.
Yes, but then who believes what? Somebody once said to me, everyone's in favour of free speech, particularly for the ideas that they like.
But the vaccine's it's not to do with an opinion, is it? It's about fact. I mean, the vaccine.
Oh, no. Well, if there's a factual response to something like that, and then that should be made. That's the job, is to put the facts out there, and then to have opinions slightly separate, and have a proper argument about it, but not try to avoid a public debate and then try and get your stuff through the social media.
You mentioned the SDP and their revival, the Social Democrat Party. You campaigned for the Lib Dems many years ago and did a party political broadcast.
That's right. Well, I was with the Labour Party for a long time until the Limehouse Declaration, when Roy Jenkins and Shirley Williams and David Owen went off. And then David Owen asked me to make a party political broadcast for the SDP in favour of proportional representation, which I'm very keen on. And I did that, and eventually I did 4 on the subject, 2 for him and 2 for Paddy Ashdown.
And are you a member of either the Liberal Democrats or the SDP now?
Not at the moment, no, because I find the whole thing is such a confusing mess. And after that appalling debate on Brexit, when I thought this country has sunk to the lowest intellectual level I can ever remember, and I kind of lost interest. And I do spend a lot of time away anyway. I mean, I'm always travelling. People say, where do you live? I say, I live in hotel rooms. I'm in hotel rooms 10 months a year, so I'm interested in a lot of political things everywhere. But I don't think that this country is in a good state at the moment. In fact, I think the last 3 Tory administrations have been progressively more and more disastrous.
A subject and an opinion I suspect we'll come back to on your GB News show.
Absolutely. Well, the nice thing about talking to the GB News audience is that they may not be used to hearing the sort of things I'll be saying. But the only thing is, I mean, the BBC have not come to me and said, would you like to have some 1-hour shows? And if they did, I would say, not on your Nelly, because I wouldn't get 5 minutes into the first show before I'd been cancelled or censored.
Well, we've given you 5 minutes today, and I promise you haven't been censored yet. So, John Cleese, at that, I think we shall leave it. Thank you very much for coming in.
And I'm still doing some comedy.
Good to know. It's 8:30 and Kathy